Welcome to I Wrote This News. Today is February 12, 2022. Every weekend, we will give you a wrap-up of the week's events, highlighting and expanding on listener favorites from the week. Let's dive in. Story number 1, DJ 45 McForty7 in Dollhouse. Members of the Mar-a-Lago Club in Palm Beach, Florida received a memo late last week that they will be treated to great music during dinner over the weekend, with, quote, President Trump playing the role of disc jockey. The music will be amazing. It will be lots of fun, and will go until the late evening, the memo said. Trump could be warming himself up for the fundraiser he is hosting later this month, tickets for which are running as high as $250,000. The fundraiser is for Trump's Make America Great Again Super PAC, a fund for candidates who support the former president's agenda. Trump's setlist is reported to include some of his favorite hits, songs like Elton John's Tiny Hanser, and a remake of the Village People's Macho Man. It's called Nacho Tan. He'll be playing a shout-out to Rudy Giuliani, Tutti Rudy, plus all the ditties you've come to expect from the Trumpster, such as The Sound of Silence, The Twitter Years, I Only Have Eyes for You, and our personal favorite, Jailhouse Rock. As the great Casey Kasem of America's Top 40 used to say, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars, just don't grab them like that, Mr. President. Story number 2, do you know where they keep the rubber bands? Former President Donald Trump last month handed over to the National Archives 15 boxes of who knows what that he had taken with him when leaving office, but that he had been legally required to leave in the custody of the federal government, officials said on Monday. Trump originally claimed, look, my people tell me that it's just some office supplies. When you get let go from a job, people say that you're entitled to take as many Sharpies and paper clips and Post-it notes as you can stuff into your briefcase. I don't know, but that's what people are saying. Everyone knows that. At least that's what my people, your people actually? That's what they are telling me. The boxes contained items taken from the White House's residence during a hasty exit after Trump had spent the bulk of the presidential transition trying to find ways to stay in power, according to two people familiar with the process of how the boxes were returned. At the time, Mr. Trump's aides were either preoccupied with helping him overturn the election, trying to stop him, or avoiding him. Trump is also being criticized for his habit of tearing up official documents that later would have to be taped back together to comply with document preservation laws. One of the people tasked with putting Trumpty Dumpty back together again was document analyst Solomon Lardy. Armed with rolls of clear Scotch tape, Lardy and his colleagues would sift through large piles of shredded paper and put them back together, he said, like a jigsaw puzzle. Now White House aide Omarosa Manigault Newman claims that former President Donald Trump would sometimes eat torn-up documents. She told MSNBC, quote, after Michael Cohen left the office and I walked into the Oval, Donald, in my view, was chewing what he had just torn up. It was very bizarre because he is a germaphobe. He never puts paper in his mouth. No word on whether that document was retrieved and patched back together. Story number 3, Malcolm the Robot, reporting for duty. Alabama Senator and guy whose name sounds like the punchline to a better joke than I will ever write, Tommy Tuberville on Wednesday rejected proposals to ban members of Congress from trading stocks, calling the idea ridiculous. Tuberville went on to say that if implemented, there would be no one willing to serve in Congress. That's sort of like saying that the only reason people come to Congress is for insider information. Or like saying that Biden limiting his Supreme Court nomination to black women means that a qualified candidate won't be identified. Tuberville's comments come as several of his colleagues, both Republicans and Democrats, have introduced a slew of proposals to ban lawmakers from trading stocks, representing a bipartisan push to uproot potential conflicts of interest and violations of stock trading rules in Congress. Tuberville, whose prior claim to fame was being football coach at Auburn, is the guy who listed the three branches of government as Manny, Mo, and Jack. He also said that his daddy fought in World War II to free Europe of socialism, forgetting the part about fascism. Tuberville was one of the worst violators of the Stock Act in 2021, disclosing 132 stock trades weeks or months late with transactions totaling at least $894,000. Tuberville, whose name I can't seem to get enough of saying, went on to criticize the proposal to ban members of Congress from stock trading, saying, quote, they might as well start sending robots up here. Indeed, they might as well, sir. Story number 4, blah blah Joe Rogan blah blah. Blah 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 horse dewormer blah blah. Blah 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 100 million blah blah blah. Blah 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 vaccine conspiracy theory blah blah mRNA blah blah monoclonal blah blah. Blah de blah. Blah 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 bd blah. Blah 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 bd blah blah mass formation psychosis blah blah blah. Okay, listen, Joe Rogan said some awful stuff, and he had people on his show who said some stuff that's not true about things that matter quite a bit. Lots of people still listen. Spotify makes more money when more people listen. The Joe Rogan experience exists because we want it to exist. So, here's one humble robot's opinion. If we want to hear the truth, we need to start being clear about the difference between entertainers and experts. And then we need to throw our attention toward the latter, even if doing so isn't as fun or entertaining. February 12th is the 43rd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. 322 days remain until the end of the year. Now it's time for On This Date in History. On this date in 1773, Englishman James Oglethorpe founds Georgia, the 13th colony of the 13 colonies, by settling at Savannah. On this date in 1909, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People is founded. On this date in 1963, construction begins on the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, Missouri. On this date in 1974, Nobel laureate Alexander Solzhenitsyn is exiled from the Soviet Union. On this date in 2004, the city of San Francisco begins issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples in response to a directive from Mayor Gavin Newsom. Celebrating birthdays today are economist Ann Osborne Kruger, basketballer Bill Russell, Israeli politician Ehud Barak, actress Maud Adams, economist David Friedman, computer scientist Ray Kurzweil, musician Michael McDonald, actress Joanna Kearns, breakthrough talk show host and fist-pumping Arsenio Hall, actor Josh Brolin, actress Christina Ricci, and Canadian cyclist Maggie Coles-Lister. Happy birthday to all of them, and if your birthday is today, a very happy birthday to you as well. By the way, if you or someone you know is having a birthday and would like us to announce it on the show, leave us a voice message or send an email. The links are in the show notes. Today's news was brought to us by The Guardian, The New York Times, The Independent, MSNBC, Insider, USA Today, Yahoo News, and the Beavis to My Butthead, Wikipedia. If you have a comment or a question about anything you've heard today, or if you have a suggestion, please send us a note at IWTN, all one word, at thatradioshow.com. That email address one more time is IWTN, all one word, at thatradioshow.com.
One more thing, if this podcast sounds a little funny, that's because it's also an experiment. All of the vocals were generated using AI technology. Hopefully the show will sound different and better as the tech improves and as we improve at using it. I'm Bob Neese, hoping you have an amazing day. We'll get together again soon.